Hi, this is Ashley once again, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here to preview this week's European games, which includes the last four second legs of the last 16 ties in the Champions League, and all the second legs of the last 16 ties in the Europa League as well. So I hope you enjoy watching this video and looking forward to seeing what I've got to say about each and every single one of them. So first up, on Tuesday night, we have the second legs of the last 16 ties in the Champions League. First up, it's Manchester City against Borussia Mönchengladbach. City are 2-0 up from the first leg and look to have 1 foot in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. But against the Gladbach side, who impressed well, played very well in the group stages, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they could come back into this tie. But given both sides' recent form in the league, Gladbach have lost their last 5, I think, in all competitions since their manager Marco Rose confirmed that he was going to go to Dortmund this summer, which, in my opinion, I just could not understand really. Why would you disclose that kind of information? I know it's difficult being a big club in Dortmund. They like to announce their managers quite early before the season ends, but from Gladbach's point of view, I couldn't really understand why they would let Rosa go, really, to such a big rival in the Bundesliga, particularly given the work he's done at the club since he took over. So I couldn't really understand it. It seems to have sparked the downturn in form, really, and if I'm being honest, there's no way they'll come back into this tie. I think City will just have too much for them in this second leg as well. Gladbach really need to go for it, but that will inevitably leave large spaces at the back for City to capitalise on and score for fun. So it's going to be a really tough evening for the German side, and I expect City to come through this tie quite comfortably. As for the second leg, I'm going to say I think Gladbach will have enough to score at least one, but I just don't think they'll have enough to keep City out of the other end. So I'm going for a 3-1 Manchester City win, which means they should win by 5 goals to 1 on aggregate. And then the second game on Tuesday night is Real Madrid against Atalanta in the Estadio di Alfredo Di Stefano. Real Madrid hold a 1-0 advantage from the first leg, but it was only secured via a late goal through Ferland Mendy after they played the majority of the game against 10 men. So it's going to be a difficult task for Atalanta to turn the tie around, but given their form in the Champions League, particularly away from home, I think they've won their last 5 away from home in the Champions League, so another win here and it could put them into the quarterfinals for the second season running. But it's going to be a difficult task for them against the Real Madrid side, who are finding form in La Liga. I know they're like 6 points off the pace in trying to defend their title, but they've picked up form of late and secured another win at the weekend, even though it took a last minute goal from Karim Benzema for them to do it. But they're still in good form, Real Madrid, and I expect they should make progress from this game, but it won't be easy. Atalanta will try to go for it as much as possible and turn the tie around to surprise the 13 times European champions, but I just don't think that will happen. With Benzema and Ramos expected to be back for this game, it looks like they'll have enough to keep Atalanta out. So I think it'll be a close encounter this second leg. Atalanta like to go forward, but I just don't think they'll have enough to get the better of Real Madrid in this one. So I'm also going to go for a 3-1 Real Madrid win as well. And then on to Wednesday night. First of the two ties is Chelsea against Atletico Madrid. Chelsea also hold a 1-goal advantage from the first leg and look to have 1 foot in the quarterfinals, but Atletico Madrid are no mugs, and they'll be hopeful of turning this tie around at Stamford Bridge. But given their recent form, it looks very unlikely. They've kind of fallen off the pace a bit. I know they're still top of La Liga, but they've dropped quite a lot of points in the last few weeks, particularly against sides that you expect them to beat. And if they are to have any chance of turning this tie around, they need to get out of their defensive mindset as they did in the first leg. I was really disappointed by their approach. I know Chelsea have been solid defensively, but I just couldn't really understand Atletico why they just tried to go on the defensive even in the first leg at home. I know it was in Bucharest, not at the Wanda Metropolitano, but still, when you're the side who's playing at home in the first leg, you've got to try and take the game to your opponents in the hope of trying to get something to defend in the second leg. But unfortunately for them, they didn't, and now they have to try and turn the tie around. I still think they could do it, Atletico Madrid, given the quality they have in their side, but the fact they don't score many goals and the fact that Chelsea's defence has looked solid in recent weeks since Thomas Tuchel was taken over makes me think that the Premier League side will just about have enough to get through. So I think Chelsea will get the win on the night, but only just. So I'm going for a 2-1 Chelsea win. And then the other tie on Wednesday night is pretty much done. Bayern Munich against Lazio. The German side and the current European champions are already 4-1 up from the first leg in Rome, and it looks like there's no real chance for Lazio to come back into this game, particularly given the fact that Bayern have started to pick up form again in recent weeks. Look like they're going to win another Bundesliga title, even though they're only 4 points clear of second place Leipzig. But regardless, this is Bayern Munich. They're expected to win, and I think there's the potential that they could inflict another humiliation on Lazio. I mean, the Italian side will have to go for it in Munich, and that could quite easily leave them with so much space at the back that the German champions could exploit quite easily. So I'm going for a 4-1 Bayern Munich win, like in the first leg as well, because I just don't think Lazio are good enough defensively to contain that attack. So it's going to be a comprehensive win for Bayern Munich, and I still believe they're the team to beat in this season's Champions League. And then moving on to Thursday night with the second legs of the Europa League last 16 ties. There are 4 early kickoffs for me to get through, and as I'll get them up on here. First up, it's Arsenal against Olympiacos at the Emirates. In one of the early kickoffs at 5:55, Arsenal have a 3-1 advantage from the first leg in Greece, and even though that's quite a comfortable advantage, you still won't be certain that they would be able to go through quite comfortably from this game. As we saw last season when the two sides met at the Emirates for the second leg, Olympiacos managed to overturn the home defeat to get themselves through, but this time they need to score 3 goals, at least 3 goals, to stand any chance of knocking out the Gunners for the second season running. And judging from their first leg performance, it seems very unlikely. They were very poor, to be honest. Arsenal were much the better side, and I expect Arsenal to once again beat them at the Emirates. So I wouldn't say it's be as comfortable as it was in the first leg, because I still think Olympiacos will try and stay in the tyres for as long as possible, but the Gunners' superior quality, I think, will tell in this game. So I'm going for a 2-1 Arsenal win, which means they'll go through 5-2 on aggregate. And then their North London rivals Tottenham are in Croatia to face Dinamo Zagreb. Spurs have a 2-goal advantage from the first leg. With no away goal, they seem certain to progress to the last 8, should I say. But if Dinamo get an early goal in the second leg, who knows what might happen there. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tottenham approach this tie, given that they don't need to go for it. They can just sit back and defend all game and still get, that will still be enough for them. But this is Tottenham we're talking about, and they and they lost the North London derby at the weekend to Arsenal, so they'll be looking to put that right in this game. But Dinamo Zagreb have been very strong at home in Europe. I think only Manchester City have beaten them at their stadium in Europe in like the last 3 or 4 years. So they're a tough proposition at their place, but I still expect Tottenham to have too much for them given their superior quality up top. So I'm actually going to go for a Spurs win, but not by much. Dinamo will have to push forward, given they need to turn the tie around, which could open gaps for Spurs to exploit on the counter-attack. So this could be a very comfortable night for Spurs, but I think they'll just about get another win in this one. So I'm going for a 2-1 Tottenham win. So go get themselves through 4-1 on aggregate. And then another of the early kickoffs is Molde against Granada. A tie between two sides who weren't expected to get this far in this competition, given who they faced in the last 32. But it's a credit to both sides that they're here. And the Spanish side look like they have one foot in the quarterfinals, having won 2-0 in the first leg. No away goal for Molde makes their task very difficult for them to turn the tie around. But Granada haven't particularly been great in La Liga this season. I think they're 10th, but they did get a win at the weekend against Real Sociedad, which should give them confidence heading into the second leg that they should get the job done. But Molde will need to go for it, and that could leave gaps at the back for Granada to exploit on the counter-attack. So I think Granada have the potential to win this second leg as well, but I think Molde will have enough to get some sort of result and salvage a bit of pride. But I don't think they'll have enough to turn the tie around completely. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw in this one. And then the final tie of the early kickoffs is Shakhtar Donetsk against AS Roma. This was a tie that I expected to be very close between two evenly matched teams. But as we saw in the first leg, Roma were much superior. They won the tie first leg 3-0, which means they're pretty much through to the quarterfinals. I know we've seen some superb comebacks from this type of position before, but given Roma's quality and how poor Shakhtar were in defence last week, I just can't see them turning the tie around. I still think they should get the win though on the night, given they've got a very strong home record, Shakhtar Donetsk, in Europe. But I don't think it'll be enough to turn the tie around. So I'm going for a 2-1 Shakhtar win, which means that Roma will go through 4-2 on aggregate. And then moving on to the later kickoffs, the big one is Milan against Manchester United at the San Siro. Milan have the slight edge, having got a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford last week with that away goal, which means that a goalless draw or a win would be enough for them to send them through to the last 8. But I don't think you just don't think it will end up that way, a scoreless draw. I expect Manchester United to go on the attack, given they need to score. And with Milan's form in Serie A recently, it's been a bit patchy of late. They've fallen quite off the pace in Serie A in terms of trying to win the title. So their focus is now really on trying to cement their place in the top 4 of Serie A to get themselves back in the Champions League. Or they could get into that competition by winning this season's Europa League as well. So this is an opportunity for them to put out one of the favourites for this competition. And Manchester United, even though they've picked up form of late, they're still not the finished article by any means. And as we saw in the first leg, they really struggled to try and get some sort of advantage against their illustrious opponents. So I think this could be a very tight encounter between two sides, two evenly matched teams, but I think United's superior quality up top will just about be enough for them. I'm expecting a thriller at the San Siro, but which I think will result in United just about getting the victory, which would send them through to the last 8. So I'm going for a 3-2 United win in this one. And then Rangers, they're another British side in action on Thursday night. They've got host Slavia Prague with the slight edge themselves, having got a 1-1 draw in the Czech Republic last week. But as we saw in the last round, even a home draw for the Czech side was enough to get themselves through, because they didn't concede an away goal and took care of business against Leicester quite comfortably. So Rangers shouldn't try to think that the job's already done and they're going to go through to the quarterfinals, because if Slavia Prague score the first goal, then it really is game on. So this will be a very tough night for Rangers. It's a difficult test for them, given that Slavia Prague are unbeaten domestically, they're flying high, and they're performing very well in Europe once again this season. So this is going to be a nervy second leg, I think, for Rangers, but given their strong home form, they haven't lost there at all this season, and the fact that they've defended quite well in the first leg, I think they should get the job done in this one, but not by much. So I'm going for a Rangers 2-1 win, which means they'll be through 3-2 on aggregate. And then the other two ties on Thursday night, they look on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. They they look to be all but wrapped up after the first leg. Villarreal host Dinamo Kiev, having won the first leg in Ukraine 2-0. I know Dinamo will still have a chance of turning this tie around, but Villarreal's strong home form in the Europa League means that they should win this one quite comfortably as well. So I'm going for I think Dinamo will score, given they need to chase the tie, but I think Villarreal will have enough to just about get the better of them once again. So I'm going for a 2-1 Villarreal win. And then the final tie is Young Boys against Ajax. Ajax won the first leg quite comprehensively, 3-0, so it looks like they're through to the last 8. And with no away goal, they can just about soak it up, let Young Boys take the game to them, and then turn over possession and hit them on the break. And I think that'll just have to be too much for Young Boys. I know they beat Leverkusen in the last round, but they conceded 3 goals at home, and any goal they concede in this one is pretty much going to end their hopes of going any further in this competition. So Ajax on a tremendous run. I think they're 20 games unbeaten, whilst Young Boys have slipped up quite a lot in the Swiss league in recent weeks. I think Ajax will once again win this one quite comfortably. I think Young Boys will also score, given the fact that, if they don't score, it's quite a disappointment for them, really. But I think that Ajax will just have too much for them up top. So I'm going for a 3-1 Ajax win. And so that's the end of my preview for all of this week's European ties. Plenty to look forward to. It's the last week of European action before the March international break, actually, when the World Cup qualifiers will begin. If I have time, I might preview those qualifiers, as like 55 or 56 teams have a chance of start their road to potentially qualifying for the World Cup in Qatar, which will take place in December 2022. But I'm not going to go into that too much now. I'll do that when I can, but when the matches come around, and then hopefully I'll be able to review. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of them, because without being disrespectful, there's like games between minnows that nobody really wants to see. So I'm only going to talk about the big international teams like France, Germany, Spain, etc., England as well. So hopefully I'll continue to produce good content for you guys to see, and I hope you guys have a good day as usual, as always. Hope you enjoyed this video of me previewing all and each and every single game this week, and I'll have my reaction to these games on Friday or Saturday when the draw for the quarterfinals of both European competitions takes place as well. So depending on when I'll do the videos, I'll have the reaction to the draw as well as the matches that take place this week. So once again, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and I look forward to seeing you all soon as always. I'm out of here.